What is up, boys? I am reporting live from my mom's basement right now. We got Brett and Jacob here. Fellas, we're on video. We're doing this big thing here. I love it. I love it. Brett, you got the analyst shirt on. How we doing, man? How's San Diego?
It's beautiful as always, man. I got no complaints whatsoever. Sundays rock. Big breakfast, beach on a normal Sunday, all-star weekend condensed into one 4 or 5 hour event today. So that's gonna be how I spend my afternoon. Obviously, is glued to the TV watching that. I know people are kind of a little down on it this year. Should they have done it? Is it going to be any good? This and that. Hey, I always love the All-Star Weekend, and I'm pumped for it.
Jacob, how are you doing, man? It's late there by you, man. Super late.
It is at 6 o'clock. I've got my first lessons in public tomorrow for the first time in like 5 months. We'll see how it goes, but a bit pissed off I can't see the All-Star game tonight because I need to get my beauty sleep, but still excited to talk about it and give predictions, Steve.
I like it. We are going to be doing some predictions. We're also going to be doing the best 23 and under kind of prospects, NBA players in the NBA. But first, you guys have been asking, some other people have been asking. You guys wanted a season ticket update with the Bucks. So we had ours on Thursday from 11 a.m. to 11:30 to pick our package. There was like 4 different packages. I put most of them in the group. I got it pulled up on my phone here. I really wanted, you only get 4 games, which is fine. We get that. I really wanted the blue package, which was Boston, Phoenix, Philly, and Miami. That is all potential playoff teams. I really wanted to see Devin Booker and Chris Paul in Phoenix, but the shitty part about that is there were no weekend games. It was most of those were all during the week. So we did actually the black package. I got Boston. Shout out to you, Derek. You still suck. Memphis, the Grizzlies, very excited to see your favorite team, Jacob, with Ja. And then we got Philly and Washington. I'm a huge Bradley Beal fan. Hopefully he's still on the team then. But yeah, man, I got 1 Friday game and 2 Saturday games. So that's kind of what we were going through. So Mrs. Bucks and 6 and I are going to have some fun. We're right at center court. It was kind of weird. You go in there, you had to pick your 4 seats where you wanted to go. They had everything kind of blocked off, but I'm excited to finally get back to some sort of normal here, man. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And Brett, you're talking about going to a game here pretty soon too.
Oh, absolutely. Sometime in the very near future, probably in the week or 2 after the All-Star break is over, I'm going to go to a game. I don't believe that California is allowing fans yet, and they may not be for a while. I'm not sure what's going on with that, but I know Phoenix is for sure, and that's like a 5, maybe probably about a 5-hour drive for me, which would be well worth it. So I'm gonna pick a night to go. But that's gonna be cool for you, man, because you're a season ticket holder, so you've kind of been in the same seats, like you've had sort of the same perspective for a long time. So now you kind of get a slightly different view.
Yeah, so the same seats for probably I'm 34, but it's been roughly the same seats for the last 40 some years. Kind of right behind on an angle, right behind the Bucks bench, just up probably about like 25 rows. So yeah, I mean, I've sat all over the place. I've sat in the upper deck. You guys have heard my courtside story before, but yeah, we're right at kind of center court back because my section was totally blocked off, which sucks, man, because my favorite usher, William, haven't seen him in almost a year. That's my dude right there. He loves my wife and my mom.
Steve.
Yeah.
I thought I was your favorite usher.
Oh, look at the wordplay from Brett. You are, Brett. You're my favorite real usher with the name Usher.
All right, I'll take it.
But so yeah, man,
you're a true fan when you got a favorite usher.
Oh, dude, we always do the little fist bump. He kisses my mom, dude. I love that dude, man. That dude's a shit. I like I said, I haven't seen him. Well, we haven't been there. I haven't seen him in over a year, man. I hope he's still there. He's a great dude, man. Great dude. And those ushers, man, they'll tell you so many stories, man. It's cool. It's cool getting a chat with them, and I'm excited. I'm excited to get. Like I said, it's going to be pretty restricted. I don't even think you can stand. All the food and drink is done on the app, but I mean, at least like you'll be there live watching some hoops, which I'm very, very excited for.
Looking forward to the report, man. I can't wait to hear how it was and see some pictures, and because I don't know too many people that have been to actual games yet this season. So I haven't really heard that much about what it's like, what the experience is like. So yeah, looking forward to that, man.
It'll be fun. It'll be fun.
First-hand account.
Fuck yeah, baby. Fuck yeah. Bucks and 6, man. Forever and ever and ever. But hey, let's so we're recording this on a Sunday like we normally do. It is about 12:10 my time, 6:10 your time, Jacob, 10:12 your time, Brett. So we thought it'd be fun to just give our all-star predictions. You guys can hear either we're idiots or we're geniuses, kind of, who's going to win. We're doing 3-point contest, MVP, as well as slam dunk champion. So Jacob, why don't we start with you? Then we'll go Brett. Then we'll go me. So Jacob, let's go with the 3-point shooting competition. Who do you have as the winner? And I'll run through these real quick in the 3-point contest on who is in it for you. It's Steph, the 2 Boston boys, which we don't need to name. Mike Conley is a replacement for Devin Booker, Zach LaVine, and Donovan Mitchell. So I know you're probably going to take Jayson Tatum, but let's kind of hear who you think is going to win the 3-point contest.
I mean, this is the only one I wasn't too sure about, because obviously this can just be someone gets super hot. Steph is the obvious choice. I am going to go actually with Zach LaVine for the 3-point contest. I think he's on fire. I can just see him come out, be like, it's his first All-Star game. He's going to be fired up. I think he's going to really go for it. Not that, you just get hot, you're hot or you're not for the 3-point contest, but LaVine's been fire this year. I could see him taking that.
Yeah. I was going to take him, right?
We know you were.
I knew it.
No, we can't. Well, it was close between him and another guy, and that other guy is Steph Curry, and I'm going to go with him now. I think if I was like gun to my head, putting money on it, life or death, whatever, I'd have to pick Steph. So I'm going to pick Steph. Yeah,
I'm picking Steph. It's a no-brainer for me. I'm going with my man. Jacob, that's your favorite player outside of Cat, so I'm surprised that you didn't take him. But you're going. You're giving us some spice today. I like it. Stealing Brett's thunder. So let's go.
Man.
Let's go to the dunk contest. We got Obi Toppin from my New York Knicks, Anthony Simmons from Portland, and Cassius Stanley from Indiana. Brett, we'll go with you first. We already know who you're picking, but why don't you let us know who you're taking from the dunk contest? It's Cassius Stanley, right? That's who you're picking, right?
It's gotta be.
No. Hey, and no disrespect to Cassius Stanley, he's a freak athlete, as everyone who hasn't seen him yet will see tonight. I mean, the guy's he's a high level athlete. But yes, I'm going with Anthony Simons, aka Ant, from Portland. He's got crazy bounce that I think a lot of people don't know about, because he's only, I think, 6'3". When you're that small, it's hard to get a lot of in-game dunks, unless you're like a super aggressive player with super high usage, somebody like Westbrook. But Ant Simons, as like a bench player, not the strongest guy. I mean, he's only had so many in-game dunks. He's never been in the dunk contest. He didn't play college basketball. So I think a lot of people haven't seen his bounce, but like Blazers fans know, like we see him in warmups, the things he can do, head at the rim, no problem. And again, he's only 6'3", so his dunks are going to look that much more spectacular. I think little guys always kind of have an advantage in this, and I'm really excited to see what he can pull out. He's about to make a name for himself as a dunker, I think.
Damn. Yeah, I knew you were going to take Ant Simmons. That would have been my choice. I think Toppin is my last option, because I think he's a bit too much of like a power dunker. He's closer to the side of being like a forward or a big man. Those guys, unless they're really spectacular or they have a gimmick, I don't see them really winning, because they're not very entertaining or spectacular dunks. They're just super powerful.
The Knicks slander continues. The Knicks slander continues. I will not stand for it. The Knicks slander just continues.
Well, look. What do you want from me? They get some good players. New York, get someone good. Mitchell Robinson might have had that DeAndre Jordan effect if they done that Blake Griffin, pulled out a Kia for him to jump over. He might have done something, but no, I'm going with Cassius Stanley because Brett chose Ant Simmons, so I'm going to go with the unknown factor of Cassius Stanley. But this is gearing up to be the worst dunk contest, or the least invested. Like, as in, like, these are all fringe players for the most part. No one's super invested, I don't think. And
they're fringe players, but they're great dunkers.
They're great.
Like like I'd rather see fringe players who are spectacular dunkers compete than superstar players who are like, a tier down from them as dunkers. Like, I don't care if you average 0 points a game. I just want to see the most spectacular dunks possible. I'm not saying these are the 3 most spectacular dunkers in the league, but that's what it'll depend on. Like, see what they can pull out. I know it's only 3 of them. And again, I would not rule out a 4th guy joining. Maybe someone that's in the All-Star game. It's at halftime of the All-Star game. So they're all going to be in the house. Zach LaVine's in the house.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Zion would do it, but he's in the house too. And just something about that 3 participant thing doesn't sit right with me. I feel like it should be 4. And I kind of think they're saving a spot for Zach LaVine. We'll see. But I'm not going to speculate too much on that. That's kind of a long shot. So yeah, we're going to stick with the Simons pick for now. But I think it could be good, even if it's just 3 of them, even if they're not stars. It'll just depend on what they pull out. If their dunks aren't spectacular, it'll suck. But we'll just have to see.
The New York Knicks slander stops with me. I'm going Obi Toppin. He's going to win it, Jacob, just for you. I'm going to send you a text message after he wins it, and it's just going to basically be the DX suck it sign. That's basically what it's going to be, and it's going to be nothing else. That's all you're gonna need from me. Let's go to the skills competition. I have a feeling this is always one of my favorite ones. Obviously, it's not going to be at Saturday night. It's going to be today. So we have Robert Covington, we have Luka, we have Chris Paul, we have Julius Randle, we have Sabonis, and we have Vucevic from Orlando. 2 big guys, and 1 traditional center in the skills competition. So, Jacob, you have. I can kind of guess who I think you're going to pick, but who is your pick to win this 2021 NBA skills competition?
I can tell you now. Steve, you're wrong. You guessed, you're wrong. It is. I am going with, because these are always weird, because it's like, you dribble around some cones, you have to throw it through a hoop, you got to shoot a 3, you got to dunk it. It's a weird contest. Someone, is still waiting to do a layup. The other person bricks 3 threes in a row. The other person comes down, shoots a 3. It's over. This is just a weird competition. I am going with Sabonis for this one.
Oh,
I'm choosing
Did
Sabonis.
he win it last year? I kind of feel like I kind of think it was him. I should know this. I think it was Sabonis, but he's a good pick. He's so skilled. I mean, he can dribble, he can pass, he can shoot. He's a very, very skilled player. His only weakness in this would be the speed. Yeah. But he's not, he's fast enough. I mean, so it's 90% of it is just making the shot and getting the pass through the hoop. Yeah. If you're 10% slower than the other guys, it doesn't really matter as much as long as you can. It's like
Bam, Bam won it last year.
Oh, Bam won it last year. Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah. That's right. Sabonis was in it, I think. I think it was the 2 of them in the finals, maybe. Maybe I'm way off. I don't know. Steve, you're going to like my pick.
Let's hear it, baby. Hit me with it.
Julius Randle, baby.
I love it. I love it. I was thinking about him. I love it.
Julius Randle, yeah. So he's got a lot of speed dribbling the ball, and he's improved greatly as a shooter. And I think it's for real. A lot of people wonder if it is. I look at his free throw percentage as an indicator that it is for real. And so I think he's going to knock down the 3. He's going to have no problem finishing. Just got to make that pass, and I think the rest is cake. So I'm going with Steve's Knicks representative, Julius Randle, in this one. They're kind of my Knicks too, man. I've been on that bandwagon.
Yeah, we both have been, man. They're the 5th seed, dude. They're a half game behind Boston, dude. Tom Thibodeau. The Thibs effect, man.
No surprise here.
No surprise here by me either. I'm going with Old Faithful, man. I'm going with the 35-year-old point guard. I think Chris Paul is going to win the skills competition. That's my pick.
I think if they did 10 in a row, 10 goes in a row, I think Chris Paul would beat basically anybody, but it's a one-off. That's why I'm going with someone who could just catch fire like that.
I like it.
I like it. Well, now we got to do the All-Star picks. So obviously we're recording this about an hour before we went to record. Woj, actually take that back. Our own Chase Campbell reported that Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons will not be able to play in the All-Star game due to contact tracing with coronavirus. With that said, I'm still going with Team LeBron. I think his team is just stacked. I don't know who is going to replace Embiid on his team. I would let me just double check.
Nobody probably.
No, I think they'll
at this
out
point,
11
I don't
guys.
think they can. I think it's just going to be one less player on the team.
Yeah.
Team LeBron to me is very, 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 very stacked. I mean, you have. I think Jacob, would you say that might be the best passing all-star team
Starting
ever?
Five, yeah.
Starting five ever, and at any level of basketball, right?
Yeah,
Olympics, college, pro. I mean, you find a starting five with better passing than that between Luka, Jokic, LeBron,
Steph.
Let me see real quick.
Giannis.
I'll double check.
Giannis, seriously,
Giannis,
all five of them.
Yeah. Thing is, as well, they could swap out Steph and Giannis because before today they had Simmons and CP3 on the bench. Like they could have ran out that lineup with like, oh my God, where like who even is the worst passer on that team? Is it like Ben Simmons? Is he the worst passer on a team with like CP3 and Luka and Jokic and LeBron? That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it shows what LeBron values too. I think the fact that LeBron picked that team. That's the funny thing about LeBron. He's going to be the all-time leading scorer, no question about it. He's probably top 3 or 4 in average for his career, and scoring's not even what he does best or what he values most. I mean, he's a passer, and he values passers, as this showed. I really enjoyed watching them draft the All-Star teams. It was a fun little show. LeBron was hilarious. The stuff about the Jazz was funny as hell too. That was cool. LeBron gained a few points with me watching that. he was cracking me up. And he gave little descriptions of everybody. He was calling like Jaylen underappreciated Brown. Who was he saying goes Ben Simmons goes hard on every possession or something like that. So he gave some really good compliments.
So here's a little facts from you. I just wanted to double check this. So there's no plans to replace Embiid and Simmons. So Embiid is Team Durant, Simmons is Team LeBron. But because Joel Embiid was a starter, the NBA has chosen Zion Williamson to be the starter on Team Durant.
I had a feeling that would be the case, and that definitely plays into to my picks here.
I'm still picking Team LeBron. Doesn't faze me whatsoever. I think LeBron, Giannis, Steph, Luka, and Jokic with Dame off the bench.
It's game
over.
It's over. It's over.
I'm going Team Durant.
Wow.
Just to be different.
No. Team Durant is as a squad, man. I think it's. I don't have it in front of me, but I believe he's got Kyrie. He's got Tatum. He's got Beal.
He's got Harden.
He's got Harden. He's got Zion. Zion's going to be unstoppable. And let me just say it right now, so nobody beats me to it. He's my MVP pick.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming he would be since you're the only one that picked that team. I don't think they're going to give it to the losing team.
Good point, sir. But yeah, I'm gonna go because I know that's the last thing we were going to predict. I'm going to go with Zion for my MVP. I think nobody can stop that guy in a real game where they're trying. Who's going to get in his way in an all-star game? Especially now that he's starting. He's going to be playing starters minutes, I think. He's one of the younger guys in the game. He'll have plenty of minutes. And I think he can score whenever he wants. I bet you he goes 12 of 15 or, some typical Zion line with a couple of big dunks. And if Durant's team wins, I think he's going to be the MVP.
Jacob, who do you got as your MVP?
I'll tell you now, I'm going Team LeBron. I was torn. I had two guys. I am going with, as LeBron did in the All-Star draft. I'm going Dame time, baby. I'm going Dame time for the MVP because it's an entertaining game. He's going to hit a couple logo shots and he's going to fucking drill it in someone's face. Hopefully, Paul George again. I think Dame is going to, because guys like that, those gunners off the bench, one of those guys, he could easily play 25 minutes. Get 20 points, and that might lead the whole game in scoring, and that would probably be enough for him to do it. Yeah, I think he's gonna. I think it's probably gonna be Dame. My other choice was Giannis because I thought Giannis could just get everything going to the basket. Like imagine
He
Giannis
can.
rolling from Jokic, Luka, Steph, and LeBron pick and rolls. Like it's barbecue chicken. But I'm still going Dame overall.
I love
like
it.
it.
I may have picked Zion, but I'll be rooting for Dame.
I knew you would.
That doesn't count. I'm going with Steph. But my hope is similar to what you said, Jacob. I hope that they close the game. I'm assuming they will, but I just want to see Steph and Dame in the backcourt for multiple minutes and just watch both of those guys just freaking just chuck from anywhere on the court.
They're gonna take half court shots. There's going to be some half court shots going up. There's no question that they'll each take multiple, close to half court shots. I guarantee it.
That's what I want to see.
And you know what I want to see, Steve? Steve, do you remember a few years ago, or both of you guys? I don't know, Jacob, you might have seen it too, but remember when Steph did the bounce alley-oop to Giannis that went like 10 feet above the rim and Giannis came down and caught it? Oh my God, that was one of the most memorable plays ever in an All-Star game. I'd like to see them recreate that.
Well, it's just crazy because you got those two in the backcourt. Like, granted, it's an All-Star game, but the lanes, like Giannis and LeBron should have like 10 dunks apiece. Like, I mean, dude, it's gonna be insane, dude. I do,
it's gonna be super fun.
I do like that LeBron. I'll say it. Tampering, pick Giannis first. We all know what's going on there. It's okay. We got it. LeBron will be in Milwaukee soon enough. Like the Bucks are going to draft this kid, and then he's going to come to Milwaukee. I like it. I like what's going on here. I'll take a 1 or 2 seasons of LeBron kind of near the end. I'll take it all day, baby. But hey, let's switch gears here. You two have both really wanted to talk about this. We've been talking about this for a while. I'm kind of 23 and under NBA prospects that are current in the NBA. Maybe you guys want to do I know you guys have rankings on who's going to be the best out of those. Just want to let you know, Jayson Tatum does qualify for everybody. He is 18 years old, so I just want to let everybody know he still qualifies. It's okay. It's like the 6th year he's been 18, but it doesn't matter. In the overstated group, he qualifies. So, so Brett, kind of, why don't you start here? Why don't you do? I think you guys each wrote down 10. So why don't you give us your 5, and then Jacob, you give us your 5, and then we'll kind of get into a little discussion here.
Mm-hmm. All right, yeah. And I think the way we've been wanting to do this for a while, and it's funny, the Dunked On podcast did this a couple weeks ago. Basically the same thing. Theirs might have been under 23. I'm not sure, but I think our criteria is probably a little different. I think we're sort of looking at this as based on where we expect them to be like 5 years from now. So it's not like who's done the most so far, who's the furthest along right now. It's more like where they'll be 5 years from now. And doing it with 23 and under, that puts these guys all pretty much between 24 years old and 28 years old is kind of like the range we're basing this off of. All right, my top 5 is Luka, number 1. Number 2 is Jayson Tatum.
Ooh.
Look. Okay, we'll get into this. Number 3 is Zion Williamson. Number 4 is Zion's teammate, Brandon Ingram.
Ooh.
Yes. I think people are kind of sleeping on Ingram, even though he won Most Improved last season. Like, I think Zion's been so phenomenal this season that he's overshadowed Ingram a little bit. But when I look at Ingram and Tatum, I don't see much of a difference. I think they're pretty damn close. And again, like, positional scarcity does factor into it. I always give wings, like two-way wings sort of. And I think you could say Ingram is that now. He could be better on defense, but guys like Ingram and Tatum get a little boost for me because of the position they play and how valuable it is and also how rare. And then number 5 is my guy, Bam. So that's my top 5. Luka, Tatum, Zion, Ingram, Bam.
Damn.
Interesting. Let's hear yours, Jacob.
So very similar. I actually have 4 of the same 5. Number 1, obviously Luka. We can talk about where he projects. I think he's the only guy here I think projects to be better than like an MVP level player. Like that above, like where Durant was in his prime, Steph was in his prime, and LeBron, all that. Luka's the only person here I think actually has that potential to reach that level. Number 2, I had Zion because Zion, I see the ceiling slightly lower than I think some people do, but him as a ball handler has been really impressive. And they've been talking a lot about how, he is going to be a point guard ultimately going forward. We'll see how that works out, but it's interesting. Jayson Tatum, number 3 for me as well. He's had a disappointing season, I think some people would say, but, he's coming off COVID. He's had, the Boston Celtics have been a train wreck to some extent this year. But he still, I think, projects as a top level prospect. Number 4, I had Bam Adebayo, who I think really Bam is now shooting up to 16 feet out. Bam is now shooting above average for the league, which if he can then stretch that out, because once you reach 16 feet and your shot's still looking good, I think he has the potential to become an average 3-point shooter in a few years. By the time he's in his absolute prime, that is scary. If Bam can stretch you out to the 3-point line with his athleticism, with his skill set, yeah, he's 4th for me. And then 5th, I went with Lamelo Ball as my number 5 choice. I think because by then he's going to be 24 years old, entering his prime. Lamelo Ball is he's like a taller Trae Young. And because he's taller, he's got easier passing lanes. He is just naturally better on defense. He is a spectacular rebounder for a guard positions. He's a great, obviously generational level passer. If he stays on this trajectory, I think this is going to be a no-brainer, honestly, for LaMelo.
Interesting that I kind of want to hear your response on this. Neither of you guys had Trae Young in your top 5, and neither of you guys had Rookie of the Year Ja Morant in your top 5. Can you guys I'm sure where does Ja rank for both of you on your list?
Those guys are coming up soon on mine in the next 5. I think the main reason I left them out of there, and it's not a good reason, but they're small. They're really small. Ja's very, very slight. I don't know if that gets talked about enough. And then, we all know about Trae. Neither one of them has a lot of strength. And I think Ja's maybe listed at 6'3". That feels a little bit generous. Obviously, he's super athletic. But yeah, and then the only reason I didn't have LaMelo in my top 5, because I'll tell you right now, he is number 6 for a lot of the reasons you said, Jacob. I'm very high on him. And I think he might have more upside than a couple of the guys I mentioned. But I think Ingram feels like more of a sure thing where I know Ingram is going to be an all-star level player 5 years down the road. I'm pretty sure LaMelo is. And if he is, he's probably going to be on another level. But yeah, those two and Bam were definitely super close for me. But I guess and then the other thing where we differed was I had Tatum too. You had Zion ahead of him. A lot of that, and I do love Point Zion. Point Zion is really exciting. It's been awesome to watch him sort of in that role, and I'm really excited to see what that looks like going forward. It's honestly the injury stuff is the only reason that I'm a little higher. Probably, if Zion had never had an injury and didn't strike me as being prone to injury, maybe I'd have him ahead of Tatum because he's been phenomenal. I think he's been better than Tatum this season, I think. So that one was close too, but it comes down to the injuries always with Zion. Not that he's had a ton, but just watching him play, he still feels like he could have some. But hopefully not. All right. Do you want to do the next 5?
Yeah. So yeah.
Do you want to go first on this one?
I will go first. I actually ended up having 6 guys and I didn't know who to cut. And I didn't really have an order for them. But we have mentioned all of them. Not all of them, but we have guys we've mentioned so far have been on that list. Like Ingram was on that list, absolutely. I did a kind of how young players can improve podcast on by the numbers before the season. I said for Ingram, I just want to see him consolidate what he did last year, like that jump in shooting, in playmaking. Can you make sure those stick? And he's flying colors through that. He's been absolutely outstanding for me as well. I do agree. He's going onto the radar. I don't know what his ceiling is, but I know right now his floor is like an all-star level player for a few years, which is awesome. Trae Young, another one for what we said. Offensively, he's a monster. It's just the defense is always going to drag down that stellar offensive value. I'm not really sure if he can really ever become like with all the guys I named my top 5, I think they can all become top 5 players in the NBA at some point in their careers. These next guys, I don't see them ever being top 5 players in the NBA in their careers. Like Trae Young, I don't see being top 5, and that's as well why I didn't have Ja Morant. I think Ja Morant could be a top 10 player, an all NBA point guard for years. I don't see him ever really being like an MVP candidate like that. Like, I love him. He's one of my favorite players to watch, maybe my favorite player to watch, because, like you say, he is like a mixture of like Allen Iverson, but an Allen Iverson who is self-aware and passes the ball the way Iverson should have done a lot of the time. So I love him, but I don't see that high ceiling for him. DeAndre Ayton, another one who he's been a bit up and down for me this year, but if it clicks, if his offensive game clicks and his defense, because I think he slid a little bit defensively this year, and that's what they need him for in Phoenix right now. They need him to be a defender because they have a lot of offense. They don't really need his offensive game to be a great team. I'm a bit more hesitant on DeAndre Ayton. If I had to kick anyone out of this top 10, it would probably be him, honestly, which is scary because he's so physically, so freakish. Shea, SGA, obviously he is, I think, Brett, you and I both said we're not sure what his ceiling is before the start of the year, and he has looked incredible this year. Like, legitimately, like, I had to wonder whether he's an all-star. Even is he closer to an all-NBA level player? Right now, he's scary good. One of my favorite things about SGA actually is when you look at kind of his passing metrics this year and last year. Last year, he was with Chris Paul. His assist rate obviously dropped like crazy because he's playing with Chris Paul, but his turnover rate dropped really, really, really low as well, which obviously that seems like an obvious thing to happen, but it doesn't happen all the time. A lot of time, these players, because they are still passing, but they're passing in less advantageous positions because Chris Paul is taking up those advantageous positions. Normally their assist rate goes down, but their turnover rate doesn't really drop. That happened to Russ and Harden when they were together in Houston. His dropped like crazy, and then this year, his turnover rate's barely risen, but his assist rate has just gone through the roof, which tells me like he's so malleable offensively. Like, he can fit next to a ball-dominant guard, or he can be the ball-dominant guard and be an amazing scorer. I am so impressed with SGA.
Well, and that's the area too where he's really impressed me with his improvement, and that's where I had questions not only before the season but early in the season. And I think as a point guard, right, being able to play that position, and like I think Basketball Reference may have him listed as a shooting guard still because George Hill started a handful of games at point guard. Teo Maledon starts sometimes at point guard, but Shea is that team's point guard. Mm-hmm. And that just the growth he's shown even since the start of the season as a point guard has been remarkable. His playmaking has gotten a lot better. His awareness, his vision, just his IQ, everything continues to improve. And yeah, he's far exceeded my expectations for him this year. And now I'm starting to see a ceiling that I didn't see before, which is a lot higher than I had sort of previously considered it. So yeah, I watched pretty much every Thunder game. I've kind of fallen in love with that team, and Shea has just been so good. I'm surprised
you have watched every game. You literally have watched every game.
I love Shea. I love Baisley. I love Mark Dagnall. I love everything about that team. I love their future too. They're going to be really good in a couple years. But yeah, Shea's the man, and I think he should have got more All-Star buzz. I think he was right there with some of these other Booker, Donovan Mitchell, whoever. Like, I know the Thunder aren't the greatest team record-wise, but they're a lot better than people thought they'd be. And I'm just surprised that he didn't even get hardly mentioned, because he's as good as he belongs in terms of like his ability. I think it's just that, his team's below 500, but yeah, he's in my next 5 too. Where are you at right now? Have you named 5?
I need one more. This is, I think, my spiciest one ever. So fasten your seatbelt, Steve.
Ever? Are you saying ever? Like, we've done this podcast for almost a year. Are you saying ever? This is the spiciest take you've ever had?
No, not my spiciest take ever. I'm just saying it's my spiciest.
You got me excited there. You got me excited there
today, and that is Patrick Williams. the rookie
Ooh,
out
love
of
it.
Chicago.
Whoa.
I fucking love Patrick Williams' game. He is such a good shooter, and he is such a his defensive like you draw like a silhouette of kind of where this guy can become defensively or what he can become, and then you look at his offensive game. Like Patrick Williams is screaming out to me that we might look back in like 5 years' time and say he's clearly the best player from this draft class.
Whoa, that is spicy.
And I had Lamelo. I think Lamelo's more of a sure thing, but Patrick Williams, he screams out to me that he has that Paul George, Kawhi Leonard ceiling of like a monster defensive big wing who he comes into the league and he's got a jumper, and that just unlocks the rest of his game. Right now, obviously, like his playmaking, his ability on the ball, that all needs to develop. But I think the outline is there, like the blueprint is there for Patrick Williams to become one of the great wings in the NBA. And he was clear.
I love
for me.
it.
Yeah,
I love it, man. I love that pick.
That is spicy. I did not see that coming.
Patrick. I love that guy, man. I agree with everything you said too. I mean, I think he's got as much upside as anybody in this draft class. There's probably 3 guys I would say that it's him, and this is just in terms of upside. If they reach their absolute ceiling, I would say it's him, Lamelo, Jaden McDaniels, who's going to probably be an honorable mention for me on this. But it's Patrick Williams. I've got him in my next 5, so I'm super high on him too.
Ooh, all right, Brett. Who's your next 5?
My next 5, so my 6 through 10. Again, I had Lamelo at number 6. Obvious reasons. Could have been a little higher. I mean, yeah, I don't need to say anything more on him. And then 7 and 8, I've got Trae and Ja, and I had a hard time deciding between those two. I'm giving Trae the edge because of the shooting. I just think he's a little further along offensively. I mean, they're very close as playmakers. Ja's phenomenal. I just don't think Ja's defense is so much better than Trae's that it puts him ahead of Trae overall for me. But that's pretty close. No diss to Ja. He's number 8. I had SGA at number 9.
Mm-hmm.
Again, super high on him, just like you, Jacob. And then and I kind of had a tough 10 and 11 too. I've got Michael Porter Jr. at 10. I mean, come on, a 6'10" wing that can do what he does. He's an elite shooter. Like, he's not just a good shooter or like a good shooter for his size. He's an elite shooter, period. And he's a borderline elite rebounder, I would say. And he's still really young. He's going to improve as long as he stays healthy. I think he's surefire top 10 for me. And then Ayton was kind of I had Ayton right there with him. He's sort of my 11th, I guess. So, and I think Ayton can do a lot more than he's shown. He hasn't been as involved in the offense other than sort of as like a roll man, as a lob catcher. But just his ability to do that is a big part of why Phoenix is so good. And I know a lot of what Phoenix is doing is defensively, but that pick and roll with Chris Paul has become so lethal. When Chris Paul has a lob threat like that, his mid-range jumper just becomes like, just forget about it. I mean, there's nothing a defense can do. You either guard that mid-range jumper or you contest the lob to Ayton. And you don't, the way Chris is so smart in navigating pick and rolls that you really have to choose one or the other. And it's an impossible situation for the defense. So Ayton may not be putting up 20 points a game, but his gravity, his vertical spacing ability has really opened things up, especially when you've got guys like Booker and Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson out on the wings. So Ayton's fantastic. He's 10 and 11. Him and MPJ were right there for me.
Yeah, I definitely had MPJ. He was one of the hardest ones to cut from like my top 11 because I had about 20 guys in all, and then I cut them down. He was one of the hardest ones, and it was just that outside of his elite shooting, and like you say, one thing that really struck me was his rebounding. Like the only guys his age and younger that are better rebounders than him are, guys like Mitchell Robinson, Wendell Carter Jr., DeAndre Ayton,
Darius Baisley.
Yeah, Darius Baisley. The guys,
they're close.
It's the guys who are obviously great, big men rebounders. He's right there as a rebounder, and that's super impressive for someone. He's not even that much worse than like a John Collins or like a Bam Adebayo, honestly. Like his everything screams out that he is an excellent, he's super intelligent offensive rebounder. Obviously, like you say, he's an amazing shooter, and that at 6'10", my only issue is that like on a great team, what's his position? Because like to me, it screamed out like almost like kind of I don't know if this is an insult or a compliment, but it was like Kevin Love on the Cavs, where it's like you stretch out, you bomb 8 threes a game, 10 threes a game probably nowadays, and you crash the boards on defensively, and you play like power forward and sometimes center, and you just do what you can defensively. That maybe MPJ is going to shock me and have a much higher ceiling than that, but that's kind of what I saw personally from him. I mean, he's more mobile than I think Kevin Love has.
That's the thing. I think he's mobile enough to play the three. I think he can handle the three. He's not known for his defense, but mobility wise, I think he's athletic enough to play the three. I see like a 3-4 combo. You know what's interesting? So we both have him ahead of Jamal Murray then.
I was just gonna start asking you guys some snubs that I thought of, and Jamal Murray was at one of those lists. So what is it? Just the inconsistent shooting? Is it just you just feel like, or is it as simple as you feel those other guys are just better?
He's just no, it's nothing against him. Like he's awesome, and lately he's been phenomenal, and he was certainly close to my top 10. He's in my next 5, I think. It's just like I just have those other guys ahead of him, but he's not far behind them. It's just more a strength. It's just more of like a testament to how many good young players there are in the league now, that someone like Jamal Murray might not even be in my top 10 in terms of like a 5-year outlook.
What about De'Aaron Fox? You guys didn't mention him either.
He was actually
I'm a little lower on him.
Yeah.
Where'd you have him, Jacob?
I had him in the 22, but he was one of the earliest cuts to that 22-man roster, just because he's an amazing player. His shooting is always worrying to me. That like I don't think he's ever going to even be like an average shooter. And in today's game, given his size, given that he tries a lot defensively, but like how much better can he be than like some of the other guards that we're talking about right now? I haven't seen that. And obviously he plays in the Kings, and that's another part of it that I just see the Kings as being such a kind of developmental black hole for him.
Court, I won't stand for this either, Court. I ain't standing for this slander, Court. Hell no.
He's a little lower. I mean, yeah, he's not that low for me. I think I've got him somewhere in probably the 16, 17, 18 range on mine. I mean, yeah, my biggest concern is how reliant he is on his athleticism. Mm-hmm. Like when I watch him play, so much of the great things he does offensively are based on how much faster and quicker he is than everyone. He's insanely fast. I just worry that if he has a couple of injuries or he gets a little older and say by, 26, 27, he starts to slow down even 10%, unless he improves a lot as a shooter, because he's not a good shooter right now. I don't know that he's going to be maybe even an all-star, or certainly not an all-NBA level player. I just, upside wise, I don't think he's quite where some of these other point guards, Lamelo, Trae, Ja, SGA, probably would have Jamal Murray ahead of De'Aaron Fox as well. The shot is a concern. Like if you look at his free throw numbers,
he's below 70% this year from the free throw.
Yeah, that's really concerning. Like that's not good. So until he improves that, his shooting, I can only be so high on him. But he's having a good season. I mean,
so Brett, really let's go with some of your favorites though that did not make your list. So you are a big OG Anunoby fan. He is exactly 23. Where was he on your list? I'm a little surprised. You mentioned Jarrett
12.
Allen when we were talking to you, and I didn't see him. He didn't make your list.
I'm telling you, man, this list is tough to make. Or the top 10 is tough to make. Like I wrote down about 25 names, and I still had more to go. But basically, my next 5 was like OG Anunoby, Jamal Murray, Jarrett Allen. Let's see. De'Aaron Fox I actually had at 15. And then the other guy that I would put in my next 5, it's kind of a toss-up between 2 rookies, Patrick Williams as you mentioned, and also Anthony Edwards.
Ooh.
I think.
Whoa.
I mean, now he's shown us probably, well, definitely, I'd say the least of any of these guys, in a sense. But his upside is staggering. Now, I don't know. I'm not saying he has a great chance to hit his ceiling, but if he does, you're looking at a superstar. And you can't say that really about anyone else, I don't think, below him on this list. Well, let's see. A couple other guys that just let's call them honorable mentions.
There's one I am surprised that neither of you guys have mentioned. I'll wait till you get there, but I'm a little hurt. I'm a little hurt that this person hasn't been mentioned yet, but it's okay. It's okay. And no, I'm not. It's not Sam Merrill, but I'm a little hurt.
Diakite? No, I'm just kidding. Mitchell Robinson.
Hey, that's my boy, Brett. Don't be hating on my boy.
I'm not. I love
him. He looks fucking good.
Yeah, he does. I had Mitchell Robinson in my top 20. Obviously, Darius Baisley is right there.
Wow. I mean, the disrespect that is coming towards me right now. You guys aren't even thinking what I'm thinking. Keep going, Brett. Keep going.
I mean, I can run. I had him at 17.
There you go. You better. You better.
Actually, you know what? I might.
Mr. Whitnell himself.
Sorry. I thought you were talking about Halliburton.
He's up there. I wasn't thinking necessarily him, but the disrespect towards Tyler Hero is unbelievable.
What's his ups? What's his ceiling? Like, seriously, does he have a higher ceiling than these guys we've mentioned? I mean, he's about number 20 for me on this list. I have him a little bit below Jamal Murray. Like, put it that way. It's like, I think they're kind of similar in terms of upside, but I would give like Jamal maybe a slight edge there. No disrespect to Hero, man. There's a lot of good young players in the league.
Hey, man, Miami, from what we heard from reports, they didn't even want to include him in a James Harden deal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jacob, where do you have a couple of these guys? Like, we'll go over sort of like your next one. Do you have Hero in there somewhere? Halliburton?
Hero and Halliburton better be up there, Jacob. Don't even fucking play. Don't even play.
I can tell you, Halliburton did make. So I went about 22 deep of guys that I highlighted. Halliburton made that list. I can tell you, Hero did not make that list. But it's so hard. Like, I didn't have Anthony Edwards on that list. I didn't have.
Unbelievable.
I didn't have Anthony Edwards. There were lots of great players that didn't, like Cam Reddish. We haven't even mentioned him. He's probably not in the top 30. Yeah, he's probably not in the top 30.
Yeah, I love Cam Reddish, and I forgot to even write him down, to be honest with you.
It's crazy deep right now. Like guys like Colin Sexton, who I know you're not a big fan of, Brett, but he's come back down to earth, definitely. But he still looks like a top quality young guard, like a step below the really great guys, but still great. And like guys like Lonzo Ball, we haven't even mentioned yet. And Lonzo's, the shots come around. He's really doing well from long distance, from the corners, even long twos. And his defense is, he's a very good defender. He's a low usage point guard. We can talk about, what's his ceiling, but he's the type of guy that with next to someone like Zion, he might be like the perfect point guard.
I forgot he was only 23.
Yeah.
I was thinking he was 24, so I didn't even write him down. But yet, I have Lonzo firmly in my top.
See, I was going to say that too. That if we would have done this like 3 years ago, like it's crazy because I'm assuming, or 4 years ago, Lonzo would have been in your guys' top 5, right? Because this is how crazy this is. And now he didn't even, we haven't even mentioned him till now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a part of it, I think, is I really did forget how young he is. But part of it is, I think, just the nature of his game. Like, he's never going to be a 25-point-a-game scorer. He might not average 10 assists. Like, he doesn't put up huge numbers. He's never really been on a good team. So it's just hard to put his upside or like value him as a prospect ahead of somebody like SGA or even like MPJ. I don't know. There's a few guys in there. That's tough. Where did you have Jarrett Allen? Are you high on him, Jacob?
Yeah, I am. I didn't know what really to do with guys like Jarrett Allen or Mitchell Robinson because they are elite centers. Like both of them, like that's one of the things with all defensive teams. Like Mitchell Robinson, I think could make like the third team all defense or like the fourth team all defense. But if it was like the rookie teams, I think Mitchell Robinson is one of the 10, 15 best defenders this year overall. I think Jarrett Allen isn't that far behind him. He's an absolute monster. He never seen a shot that he didn't want to block. Yeah. Like he is a monster.
But they're very traditional, just rim protecting, mm-hmm. rim rolling on offense. Like they don't shoot up. They don't really have a post game. They can occasionally hit threes. Jarrett Allen actually has been taking more threes with Cleveland. It's kind of interesting, but it's not something I'm going to read too much into. But yeah, just because they're very limited in a sense, like they're very good at a couple of things, elite, among the best in the league at those couple of things. Mm-hmm. And that's why I put Ayton a little bit ahead of them, because Ayton's kind of got a jumper. And Ayton can actually move out on the perimeter defensively a lot better than those guys, in my opinion, too.
Yeah.
So how about a couple of long shot guys that you have in here?
Long shot guys. Someone I don't know if he's really a long shot. To be fair, we haven't mentioned tangent. We haven't mentioned Tyrese Halliburton. And
yeah, we did. You mentioned him a couple minutes. He knows, Jacob. You haven't mentioned him. Brett mentioned him.
I had him in my top 20.
Wow.
I didn't get around to it.
Should have led with that.
I did too.
Should have led with it.
Well, I'm just saying I had him in my... Oh, yeah, we did. I said I had him. I didn't have Tyler Hero. But I have him in my top 20. I don't know what his ceiling is, because I think maybe it's like I think he's really defining himself as like a secondary offensive player.
I'll tell you what his ceiling is. I'll tell you what his ceiling is. Future Milwaukee Buck. There's his ceiling right there. There you go.
Man, that'd be awesome.
Oh my God.
He's kind of in the Lonzo, like he's sort of a Lonzo-ish kind of player. Like he might never put up huge numbers, but he's just a guy you want on your team. Jacob. He's a smart player. He's unselfish.
I was laughing before because I wanted to, because I knew that the Bulls had shown some interest, or there was a rumor that the Bulls were interested in Lonzo Ball. So I typed it in, and one of the first things that came up from Mark Berman from the New York Post was the Knicks are interested in Lonzo Ball. Immediately thought of you.
That is, oh my God. He already has to do,
because I think he's a free agent at the end of the year.
I think,
small
he's restricted.
Tangent.
Yeah.
See, small tangent. The Pelicans should be much better than they are, because we've talked about.
They should be.
We've praised Zion. We've praised Ingram. Now we're praising Lonzo. And they're at least several games below 500. And I know the West is tough. I know it's a weird season, but there are teams ahead of them that I don't think should be. And Steve, you may have been.
I told you. I said it. I was the first one that said it. That Sam Van Gundy was an uninspired choice. They went with a retread head coach. JJ Redick is having like one of the worst shooting performances. He's had a couple DNPs in there. Like,
what's the rotations all over the place?
Yep.
I don't know. I like how they've been using Zion lately. I don't know though. It's just like, I can't imagine that. And I know hindsight is 2020, but I can't imagine that SVG was their best option. Mm-hmm. You know, like why didn't they just hire Kenny Atkinson? I mean, I'd rather have a guy like Mark Daigneault, like a young up and coming head coach, than like tired old SVG, like who, I mean, hey, it's not like he hasn't had a chance. He's had half a season now. I'm not saying they should fire him right now, but I don't think
he's not going to get fired. He's got at least 2 years. I'd imagine.
Well, they said that about John Beilein too with the Cavs, and they fired him halfway through his first season. Yeah, different circumstances.
Because they were like, I was hearing rumors like they were all out on him. Like the first meeting, they were like no to him. The same, like Boylan, but obviously Boylan stuck around for like 8 more months than he should have done. But yeah,
I haven't heard anything like that with SVG. Like as far as I know, the players love him. So, but yeah, that's been little tangent. But they're just talking about all these Pelicans. I'm like, why the fuck aren't they better? Like, come on. Let me just see if I have a couple more names that I wrote down.
I was gonna say, this is my favorite month. I mean, we were talking the other day. This is unfortunately after going to Vegas so many times for March Madness, just due to COVID and everything kind of being on semi lockdown. I know some things are open, but we're not going this year. Hopefully next year we'll be able to go. But we have the NBA trade deadline this month too, and the NBA trade deadline is March 25th. So that's coming up super duper quick. And, there's a lot of, I think, who do you guys think is the player that is going to be moved? The one that we're not going to be surprised about. I mean, is it going to be Victor Oladipo? I mean, he seems like the most logical one after turning down that contract extension with Houston. I know, Brett, you kind of had some thoughts about where he sees himself in the league versus where everybody else sees himself in the league. But, who do you guys think is a player that is most likely to get traded?
Oladipo is a good choice. I mean, that seems very logical. They just called Kevin Porter Jr. up from the G League. I know they have high hopes for him. He's a guy that should definitely be on this list. It's just that he hasn't played all season. Like I forgot about him, but I've got him ahead of a few of the guys I mentioned. I'll just put it that way. He's phenomenal. Y'all wait till he gets some minutes with the Rockets. I think he's probably going to end up being named G League MVP for this season. I think he averaged like 24, 7, and 7.
Well, there's another guy in the G League. There's another guy in the G League who's been balling. He just got called up to my team. You know it. You know it.
Yeah,
I love it, man. He's intriguing too. But so I think that might make Oladipo expendable, depending on how much they can get out of KPJ, who again should have been on this list. I can't believe I forgot him. So many good young players in the league. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Like I hadn't really looked at it, but it's like, I mean, I have like Sexton at like somewhere between 20 and 25, and same with Garland, and those guys are awesome. But let me just say, I'll go with. I do feel like Lonzo might get traded. I think Lonzo might be my pick.
The Bulls have been, from what I have read and seen, it's the Bulls that are kind of. I think. I don't want to speak out of turn here, but I even think I read a report that he wants to go to Chicago. Like he'd be okay with going to the Bulls.
And they're in playoff contention. Obviously, they're better than people thought they'd be, and they might feel like he's the piece that could put them over the edge. Now, what do they give up for him? That I don't know. I mean, he's going to be a free agent, but there'd still be a little bit of a price on him. I like that idea, and I just feel like with Zion getting more sort of ball handling responsibility, the Pelicans just not meeting expectations. Not to say that's by any means Lonzo's fault. He's been phenomenal this season, especially the last month or so. But I just have a feeling he might be on the move. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, who could they? I mean, Markkanen. That strikes me as something.
That's been another one. Yep.
That's been mentioned.
Yeah. I mean,
he'd help the Pels.
Yeah, I think he would. Yeah, he's like a 35 to 40% shooter at like nearly 7 foot tall. It's just health with Markkanen. That's really stopped his development, I think. And with the rise of Patrick Williams as kind of a 3-4 hybrid, how expendable is Lauri Markkanen if you can bring in a real playmaking kind of offensive set the table point guard like Lonzo around Levine, because they have so many guards, but like no actual point guards in Chicago, but they have so many.
I think in a perfect world, if they did get Lonzo, it would be Lonzo starting at point with Levine at the 2, and then Kobe White as like the third guard, sixth man, like a killer sixth man, like one of the best.
That'd be a fun team if they got Lonzo. That'd be a really fun team.
I can see it. And Markkanen, like if you're the Pelicans, that's what you want, is a guy who can play center and also stretch the defense to put next to Zion. He'd be perfect in that sense. Yep. So that might be the guy. And I think he is to some degree expendable from the Bulls standpoint. I like that.
And I think because they are both same draft class, hitting restricted free agency together, there's a kind of like you're not giving up. Like both teams are taking on that. You're going to have to pay this guy some money, and you're not sure what it's going to be. But you both have the option to retain those players. Like you're in the same boat with both of them. I think Lonzo's probably going to get more interest come restricted free agency, but we'll see. We'll see.
It makes sense. I know guys. We're sorry. What'd you say?
No, you finished because I was going to move on to another couple players that I could see getting moved.
Yeah.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Yeah.
So, do the Orlando Magic finally realize to get off Vooch Island? Do they get rid of their only good player?
I can't see it.
They're basically terrible already. Can you not just get something for Vooch? Like, at a certain point, Orlando, what is there to tear down outside of Vucevic right now? Like, you can say, oh, but they're tearing down a team and it's easier to be a middling team and get better. Yeah, sure. They're not a middling team. They're fucking awful. And Vucevic is their only like positive value player that they can probably get something good for from a contending team. But
okay, the thing with the Magic is that's tough though, is like, yes, they suck. But look, man, if they had a healthy Fultz, a healthy Jonathan Isaac, Aaron Gordon's missed a lot of time, Evan Fournier's missed a lot of time, Cole Anthony's hurt. Look, Chuma Okeke looks like he could be a player. So it's like if you fast forward a year with some of these guys' development and then the rest of them getting healthy, all of a sudden that's an absolute playoff team. So it's like, I don't know. Are they going to just try to run it back? What does he have? 2 years left on his deal, Vooch?
I think so.
Something like that. But I would trade him. But
I can't see Orlando doing it though.
I could see them wanting to be like, okay, let's see what this team looks like when everybody's healthy. I don't think Aaron Gordon's going to be there I think Gordon's probably more likely to be traded than Vooch.
Yeah, but I don't think an Aaron Gordon trade, I'm not sure what Orlando can get for him now. Like, I'm not sure there is much of a market because Aaron Gordon, he's just stagnated so much. Are you going to trade for a guy that puts up like 10 and 6, who's hyper athletic but doesn't seem to really be able to play basketball at a high level?
Vucevic he actually has a lot of time left on his contract. He's got 21-22 and 22-23 that he's
2
under
years
contract
after this season.
Yeah, so he's in the second year of a 4-year, $100 million contract.
I mean, as far as Gordon, like put him on, I don't know, like Golden State or like somewhere where he can just be like a playmaking, defensive focused 4. I think he could be pretty damn good. I at least want to see it. Like I'd like to see the Blazers go after him. I don't even like Aaron Gordon that much, but I've wanted him to go to the Blazers for so long now, just because I think it would be interesting as a fit. I just want to see him in a different situation and a different role.
Jacob, give us another player that you had. Who?
The biggest star that I'm shocked no one's mentioned yet is obviously Carl fucking Anthony Towns. Does he demand trade?
When does he demand one? I don't know, man. He's obviously, personally wise, he's had a very, very rough year. And then on the court wise, I mean, he's been injured, or well, he had COVID, and he just hasn't been able to get on the floor enough. And then you have D'Angelo Russell, like he's missed a lot of times. I don't see Minnesota. I think Karl Anthony Towns would be the one that would have to demand a trade, which I don't see happening this year because he just came out a couple weeks ago and said he wants to be in Minnesota for the long term. So I don't know.
Yeah,
that's what they all say.
That is true. That is very true.
Probably not.
Well, I mean, for this year,
but I think if. Yeah. For all we know, him and D'Lo are like, they've got plans to really build something special there. Like we don't know. He hasn't addressed that, and probably not this season. But I wouldn't be surprised if he demands a trade at some point, maybe next season. But I don't think Minnesota has any desire to trade him. I mean, he's so special. But
it's just so ridiculous what they've surrounded.
What's
like
that?
It's just so like ridiculous though that you have Cat, and then who are your next 3 or 4 best players like Beasley, Russell, Edwards, just gunners. Like, what are you doing surrounding
Minnesota, baby?
It's
Minnesota, man. Ask Kevin Garnett how he feels about Minnesota.
This ties into what I wanted to give a couple shout outs to guys that I had written down that we haven't mentioned yet. And one of them I think could really help them in the future, and that's Jaden McDaniels.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's the type of power forward that would be perfect to put next to Cat. He's an elite rim protector. He's very versatile, very athletic. And he's absolutely like in my top 25 somewhere. So shout out to him. Darius Baisley, of course, is in there. Nick Claxton of the Nets has shown a lot of promise his whole career, really, when he's had a chance to play. But the last couple games, he's been fantastic. Garland and Sexton, Isaac Okoro, and then the Spurs guys, Keldon Johnson and Lonnie Walker, too. Both of those guys, I think, need to be in this conversation. And I know that there's other guys that I forgot, and you probably forgot too. And it's like there's like 30 like genuinely promising players age 23 or younger in the NBA right now. Like, what a time to be an NBA fan. This is so exciting.
And I'm sure the listeners will remind us that we probably missed something. But let's
Peyton Pritchard, something like that.
Last one that we didn't even mention could be top 3, top 2, top 1 Emmanuel Quickly out of this draft class. He's looking like an awesome young guard.
Good call.
His playmaking, I love it. I don't know what his ceiling is, but I know that he's super exciting to watch, and his floater game has been. I know people have written to death about how elite his floater game has come in at the age of 21. His playmaking is great. He's just an awesome young point guard.
He's got super long arms.
What team does he play for, Jacob?
I don't know. The some team. I don't know.
The bright future Knicks, man.
Yeah, the fifth seeded Knicks. The fifth seeded Knicks. That's going to do it for us. We appreciate everybody listening and the support. Go check us out in the Overstated NBA group. We got a lot of good stuff there. Apologies again. We were going to have Derek Michael on the podcast, but then we just realized how stupid of an idea that was, so we kind of nixed it. Last second, he texted me. He was all ready to go, but we said, nah, man, we don't have enough time. Maybe next week. But for myself, Brett, and Jacob, appreciate the support. Everyone have a good Sunday and enjoy the All-Star game. And talk to you guys soon. Peace.